Well, good morning. I want to thank you all for coming. And I particularly want to thank Sarah and Lloyd Cledwin for providing their beautiful home and great yard and hospitality to us. When you get a chance to meet their kids, you can hear some of them, but they're beautiful children. So thank you. We want to welcome you to our event today and the launching of another phase of our composting pilot project that we're working on here. I'm Tim Brownell. I'm the CEO of Eureka Recycling. Eureka Recycling is a nonprofit organization that believes that waste is preventable, not inevitable. And we've been working on waste-related issues and demonstrating the benefits of reducing waste, recycling waste, composting waste for many, many years now. We started this work well over 20 years ago, and we're about halfway there. We're about half of the waste stream is being captured in one form or another, but half isn't whole, half isn't zero. And so what we're working on now, and what we've been working on for the past several months, is the initiation of a composting pilot program that is really allowing us to take a look at how can we best manage a very significant portion currently of the waste stream. We know that we'll be able to increase our recycling and capture rate through composting well over 75% of the waste stream. If we do it right, if we can engage the public, and that the program is designed for the greatest environmental benefit and also cognizant of costs and practical use. So we're committed to get all of the compostable materials out of your garbage can. And what is so exciting is that there are so many other people and other organizations that are committed to the same vision, including the City of St. Paul, who has a zero waste goal by the year 2020. So today we're here to celebrate the launch of 3 different collection methods for trying to capture compostable materials from households. Those 3 different methods are through bike collection, through the collection by trucks, and the third is through a drop-off station in which people will collect materials in their home and take it to a drop-off. We're doing this in 600 households here in the Macalester-Groveland neighborhood. 200 households by bike, 200 by truck, 200 by drop-off. And these are not subscription households. People who signed up, we hit specific blocks of 200 households to see how people would participate. How would they engage in that program? What would they do if provided this opportunity and access? But before we did that, we've been for several months working on other aspects of handling compostable materials. We've been working with the Macalester-Groveland Community Council and the Green Institute on backyard composting initiatives, doing workshops in the neighborhood, providing the opportunity for people to be trained about composting, about energy conservation, and doing those 2 things together to see how people might participate, how many people we can get to reduce the amount of environmental impact that they're having through their homes, and trying to take steps forward to see what they might be able to do practically to reduce materials before we even generate them. So with that, I can go on to many other aspects of this pilot, and I will. But before I do that, I want to focus on a couple quick things. One is, why are we doing this? One is, we're really trying to design a composting program that is of the greatest environmental benefit. So not just driving trucks down the street, but how is it that we can really manage this material in the most environmentally beneficial way, cost-effective way, and preferred way for the City of St. Paul and the residents of this community. we're trying to develop a long-term composting plan that makes recommendations to the City of St. Paul that's holistic, that's really looking at all the different aspects of how we can handle this material and bring the greatest benefit to all of us here.
This is really a great day in the City of St. Paul. A lot of us in City Hall, a lot of us in the community, many people in this neighborhood have worked very hard on a number of issues related to recycling. And this is yet another step forward for what is really a nation-leading city in St. Paul, Minnesota, when it comes to recycling. We are already at 45% recycling rate in this community, and our goal is to be at 100% in the year 2020. Today is just yet another step forward. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Historically, I'm very proud to be staying in this neighborhood because historically the Macalester-Groveland neighborhood in particular has taken some incredible leadership in the issue of recycling. Back to my days on the district council when Kathy Tarnowski was starting all sorts of different programs to recycle at the curbside, at the alley. This neighborhood has really been a leader. And as we stand here today talking about something that is really unique, that is really spectacular, and that is a step forward to our goal in 2020, this neighborhood yet again takes a leadership position. So I really do want to thank Eureka, in particular the citizens of this neighborhood, for really taking leadership on an issue that's not only important to St. Paul, not only important to America, but important to the world, and we all know it. And I'm proud to be a resident of this community and proud to have that #1 tag that St. Paul has. It's interesting, Tim and I talk pretty regularly about recycling and my desire to continue to move forward to our goal of 2020 and to continue to give neighbors the flexibility to be able to participate in our recycling programs. And this morning, I was making pancakes for my 3.5-year-old. And for those people who have young children, he didn't really finish them all. And I think it was my cooking because I tasted them later and they weren't very good, but that's beside the point. But he didn't finish his pancakes this morning. And I thought about this event today and I said, how many situations like this and how many people in our community are taking the step to take what I call them Daniel's pancakes, to take Daniel's pancakes and not contribute to the waste stream and to actually do something with situations like that to better our environment and to better our community. And so what we're standing here is something very unique. And I'm very proud to be in this neighborhood to do that, proud to be a part of it, proud to have an option. I think I have to just become a better cook so that there's no more pancakes left. But in the event that I can't change that, we're going to have an option in St. Paul, and I really appreciate that. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the hospitality of the Cledwins. We really appreciate that. And thank you to everybody who's provided leadership on this. And let's just get the word out and make sure that people really grab hold of this and really make it happen.
We, Macalester-Groveland Community Council, wants curbside composting, wants composting program in all of St. Paul, not just Macalester-Groveland. It's very important to us that this not just be a neighborhood program, but a citywide program. Our goal is to build confident composting across the city. And to do that, we need to have a strong partnership with Eureka Recycling. And we have had a relationship with them for many, many years. And to do this work we've been doing over the past year and going forward, we're really leaning on the strength of that partnership. And we're very happy that they've chosen Macalester-Groveland to partner with us. In the last few months, we kicked off a backyard composting program, and we recruited 40 volunteers from the neighborhood, amazing people who stepped forward and did home visits, among other things, to get our neighbors started with backyard composting. And I want to acknowledge those 40 volunteers, one of whom is owns this home and yard that you're in today, and I'll introduce her later. But they are very important to the work we're doing. The other people I want to acknowledge are the Board of Directors of Macalester-Groveland Community Council. I see 2 of them here today. They're behind you, Rich Broderick and Joel Clemmer. And I think I saw a past board member over here, Rosa Maria de la Cueva Peterson. Did I get that right? That's a mouthful. And did I miss anybody? Are there other board members here today? Okay. But they have been instrumental in supporting these projects as we've been moving forward. So gratitude to the board of directors.
Hello, welcome to my home. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my involvement with composting. My mom, when I was young, used to just throw our vegetable scraps just out the back door into a flower bed. That was the most prolific flower bed in our entire yard. But I've been composting then since I was small. It's always been very important to me to compost, and I hate to waste. I especially hate to waste food. So when I have food now that I either can't get to or leftovers, I also have a 3.5-year-old, doesn't finish his meals. It's wonderful to be able to use that to make the fertilizer that I use for my garden and my yard, and to use it for a good purpose instead of just throwing it into the garbage. I got the opportunity this spring to be one of the volunteers that Gina was talking about that went and visited my neighbors with backyard compost bins, got them set up, and also answered questions for them about backyard composting. Most of them were really nervous that it was going to be hard, and it really doesn't have to be hard. In fact, I have 2 little children, and if it was hard, I just probably would take a break for a while. But it's not that hard, so that's been wonderful. And I've been really enjoying doing that work. It's also been really important to me to do the backyard composting because I feel sometimes as if there's so much waste that we create just by living, that anything that I can do as a concrete action that I as an individual can do is something I'm really behind. And so it's so important to me to get those things out of the trash because I can, and because it's easy, and because I think it's good for the world. I'm also so excited that St. Paul and Eureka Recycling are working on this pilot to do curbside collection, because as much as I compost, there are still things going in my garbage that should not be going into my garbage. Those things now can get collected at the curb, and I'm so excited to do that. It's also an opportunity for people who either aren't willing or feel like they can't do that backyard composting to get their food scraps, veggie scraps out of that garbage and into a program where it can be used and make a beneficial product at the end. This is thrilling to me, and I am so excited to have you all here today and to be participating in the pilot program. I'm going to turn it back over to Tim now, who's going to give you a little more details about Eureka's program.
That's the spirit. That's it. I mean, that's why we're doing this. I can't thank Sarah enough. I can't thank the Macalester-Groveland Community Council enough, and all the other partners I'm going to introduce you to shortly. You know, you've heard about the importance of backyard composting, the value of backyard composting, the engagement and involvement of backyard composting. We'll give you opportunities to hear more about how we're collecting materials through the trucks, through the bicycles, and through the drop-off. The types of things we're going to be measuring. We're going to be measuring how people participate through those different methods. Do people participate more based on the type of equipment that's coming in front of their house? What's the environmental footprint of that type of equipment that's going in front of people's houses? What's the cost to do that as well? But we're also really looking to work and understand the environmental benefits of a couple other aspects of composting. The first is trying to reduce the amount of food waste and compostable materials that is being generated in the first place. This is actually, it seems like common sense, but in a way it's also revolutionary work. This is not being studied, it's not being looked at in the United States at this point. People are just starting to recognize, what should we be doing about portion controls? What should we be doing about how we buy food, how we store food in our refrigerators, how we store, after we purchase it or after we have leftovers. Traditional methods like canning, freezing. How can we purchase food differently? How can we store it? How can we prepare it? How can we eat it? Because 30% of the food that's being generated as waste at this point is completely preventable if we handle it properly, if we store it properly, if we prepare it properly. So what we want to do is do a lot of the reaching out. So it's in the kind of the top of this signpost here, is trying, just like we do with other materials that we say let's recycle, but we want to reduce it first. We want to do the same thing with food waste and other compostable materials. The other side is then what's the best way to handle it once we've reduced it, we've managed it on site, we've collected it, then what do we do with it? After we've collected it, there are different ways that we can handle it. We can anaerobically digest it and make energy from that process and then create dirt with the remaining materials. We want to understand the economics of that process. We also want to understand the dynamics of what happens to that material after it's been anaerobically digested. Does it add nutrient value? Does it detract from nutrient value? Is it a really expensive proposition versus is it an affordable way to really make good, high quality materials? Or are there other ways that we want to finish that product? Do we want to windrow compost it? Do we want to handle it in other ways, in an aerobic process, meaning with oxygen? So that's also part of this study. So as I said in the beginning, we're really trying to look at this holistically, trying to figure out how much can we reduce, therefore the impact of if we're then collecting it, how much do we need to collect, and what is the interrelationship between all those, and then how does all that impact the material that we be then processing? So it's a very complete process, a complete project, and really exciting. But you can see the energy all the way along the way. When we talk about food waste reduction, you feel it, you know it. It's exciting. It's innately important to, I think, all of us. Then backyard composting and handling it on your own site. And then the rest gets a little more technical, but it's at the same time, it's exciting when we're thinking about a zero waste future.
I think I can say with a lot of confidence that St. Paul residents really want to compost. They want this opportunity and they're enthusiastic about it. My household's been composting for quite a while, and it actually is pretty easy. I think this system will make it all the more easy for everyone to participate ultimately. And I'm really excited about the partnership that Eureka has brought together to get this started. I think it's a really exciting model, if you will, of citizens coming together, working with nonprofits, the public sector, our higher education institutions. I know some of those partners are here today, including Macalester College, the University of Minnesota's Institute on the Environment, and folks from the Green Institute have all come together to help figure out how to make this project really work, because there's so much really at stake in making this work. And Tim and others have spoken to a lot of the reasons why that's the case. As we move forward towards implementation, I'm particularly excited about the aspects of this project that go beyond composting, even to think about the carbon footprint of how we do that. The potential for the bicycling component of the project, and you've seen some of the bikes sitting around. I'm actually going to get on one of those here in a few minutes and test it out, and I'm looking forward to that. But that all of us are kind of working together to keep our eyes on the prize in terms of not only waste reduction, but reducing our footprint, our carbon footprint, and our overall impact on the environment here in St. Paul. And this effort is really a big part of that. It's a big part of moving us towards our ultimate goal of zero waste by 2020. You know, the other part of the food picture that Tim was describing that we are going to have to tackle in addition to composting is obviously food packaging. It's one of those things that ends up being a big part of what we do have to throw away much of the time. And just to add that component to the picture, I think is going to be a challenge. I know in our household we get frustrated because of the containers that we end up throwing away, the plastic packaging we end up throwing away. That's kind of that's sort of the last frontier, if you will, of things that typically aren't recyclable. So some work to do there, but this is just a fabulous step in the right direction. And as someone who cares deeply about sustainability, I'm thrilled to be playing just a small part, like I mentioned, and I can't wait to get on that bike here in a few minutes.
I think we want to christen these bikes. So we have Russ Stark, Councilmember Russ Stark, coming down the street on a bike. So may give you a moment. That's pretty impressive.
I've trailed some groceries behind me, but never 500 pounds of compost. So I don't think I envy these guys.
All right. Here you go.
There we go. There we go.
It's that easy.
All right. Okay.